Gabe Bueno, Mi Gente Calix Boxing here. Hit that sub button for nightly boxing videos, and we are live. I just wanted to share this, and I have the screen share up to show some footage of one of Crawford's fights. And it freezes up a lot when I'm sharing it on the screen, so forgive me for that. But I just wanted to show this just to make a quick point. Not going to be a long video. I've always been surprised that in combat sports, more fighters don't learn at a young age how to fight with both feet in the front. You know, in other words, why aren't more fighters learning how to fight conventional and southpaw and sort of switch things up? And I know at the boxing gym that I used to go to back in the day, it was frowned upon. I know some guys who were trying to switch, show different looks in sparring, and the trainers that we had at the gym frowned upon it. They did not like it at all, saw it more as showboating, saw it as ineffective. And for a lot of guys, it is. For a lot of guys, they just switch up just to switch up, show a different look, maybe catch their wind so the guy doesn't come in as quick at them. I don't know. But the reason they're not as effective is they're not training going both ways at a young age. And obviously, when you see a guy like Terence Crawford do like this, Molina, first round, he comes out conventional first half of the round and then goes southpaw second half of the round. And there's no misstep. It's completely fluent. It's like it's like when you know two languages fluently and you can go back and forth. Like my wife speaks two languages. She can speak two languages in one sentence and just go back and forth. It's the same thing like with what Crawford's doing here. He can go southpaw to conventional, southpaw to conventional. He can fight southpaw like he did against Ndongo the whole fight. He can fight conventional the whole fight. Whatever he thinks when he's watching film of a guy, breaking down a guy, whatever he thinks is going to work, he can do. And it completely opens up everything for him. It's like a basketball player who can use both hands fluently. A point guard who can go to the left, go to the right. The whole court opens up to him. And when he can only go right, he's only got half the court to work with. So when you're a switch hitter in boxing, like Crawford is, it opens up a lot more. You know, it makes you a lot more versatile as a fighter when you can do it and there's no misstep. There's no hiccup at all. And you can tell he's got power in both hands because he keeps guys honest going both ways. And I've always been surprised that more guys don't do this. You don't see, even there have been fighters who do it here and there, but you can tell when which one is dominant, in other words. Just look, and there have been instances where guys fight with their strong hand, their dominant hand, as their lead. Like Cotto. Cotto's a southpaw, but he fights conventional. Winky Wright was a southpaw, fought conventional. He wanted to fight with his dominant hand forward to use it as a jab. Winky Wright did it to break guys down, walk them down, and use that peekaboo style. But nobody has done that I've seen in recent boxing has done it both ways like Crawford does it. And what makes it difficult and why it's such a weapon is imagine being in training camp leading up to a fight with Crawford if you're fighting him. You know, imagine being, let's see, if Jeff Horn or Manny Pacquiao fights him next, they're going to have to bring in conventional fighters and they're going to have to bring in southpaw fighters. They're not going to be able to bring in, you know, if you're training for John Molina, all you're going to do is bring in guys who fight conventional and come straight forward. You know, even if you fight, I don't know who's another good fighter, Sean Porter or Keith Thurman, you're going to bring in all conventional fighters. If you're training for Terence Crawford, you don't know if he's going to start off southpaw. And just think of how difficult it is to fight a southpaw, period. So you're fighting a guy who is a natural conventional fighter, but since he's been training as a southpaw as well his whole life, he can come in and be an awkward southpaw at the same time. So this whole time, this whole training camp, you're training for a conventional fighter, but Crawford comes out and fights southpaw. All of a sudden, you have a whole different bag of problems. And by the way, the guy fights just as good southpaw as he does conventional. How do you deal with that? All right, so just think of the problems that you have to deal with in training camp. You got to bring in twice as many sparring partners because you can't bring in a guy who can do a little bit of both because he can't do both just as good. You know, I can't think of anybody else off the top of my head. Maybe you guys can help me, who can fight conventional and southpaw at the same time, can do it in the same fight, can do both the whole fight, and there's no fall off. So you gotta bring in twice as many sparring partners. You gotta bring in southpaw. You gotta bring in conventional. And oh, by the way, you gotta bring in good counter punchers. You gotta bring in guys who can do good. He's the full package. But the switch hitting thing adds a completely new dimension to it because of all the new set of problems you got to deal with. You're dealing with a guy who's right hand dominant but can fight southpaw the whole fight. And oh, if that's a problem, he can go back conventional. How do you deal with that? And I'm just surprised that more fighters, young fighters, how many trainers aren't doing this with young kids and switching them up. And how it's frowned upon. It really is frowned upon in boxing gyms to go both ways. And that's always been odd to me. I think more guys should learn how to be switch hitters. Same thing in baseball. Switch hitting is a lost art in baseball as well. So just an interesting thing I've observed, and not too many people are talking about it, and the problems that fighters are going to have going up against this guy, Terence Crawford, in the future, just knowing that they have no idea how exactly to prepare for this guy, because if you think you're preparing for conventional, he can go southpaw or vice versa. It's just a tough thing to deal with. So hit me up, let me know what y'all think about this. I'm out. Peace.